Credibility Alliance is probably the only organization that is engaged in developing standards of assurance and transparency in the voluntary sector in India. Currently, there is very little mechanism or benchmarks to give assurance about the work of any organization to a donor or to any stakeholder. As a result, even NGOs with excellent track records or performance, they go unnoticed in the sector and generally maligned by lack of accountability and transparency. Credibility Alliance has been trying to pursue and strengthen the work of governance and disclosure practices, whereby there are two levels of norms that are set by Credibility Alliance. One is called the minimum set of norms, and the other is the elevated norms, that is desirable set of norms. I also take this opportunity to inform, and I'm happy about it, to share about one of our ongoing initiatives through which we bring out a e-communique, which is called CA Learning Series on governance and disclosure practices for voluntary organizations.
Making institutions functional is very, very important, and capacity building of the people, stakeholders, to ensure that government social accountability can be extracted is also extremely important. The same is true of the NRHM, which has village health committees. Now, theoretically, government has set up institutions where public partnership is there, people's partnership is there, people's ownership is there, but the ownership doesn't work. So we need better mechanisms to ensure that government servants are accountable and that the schemes deliver properly. I would like to just mention in the Women and Child Development Program, we've just heard of the tragedy of the midday meal in Bihar. Our contention always has been that if mothers can monitor the food in Anganwadis or in the midday meals by going once, one mother, one day, to just see the supervision of the meal would be better prepared. There cannot be this kind of hazard that pesticide got mixed up with the food, because there will be somebody supervising it. I've been trying it for the last 3 years, and I got a feedback from the state government that the women say, we will miss out one day of doing Narega work, so government should compensate us for doing it. That is point number one. And the second is, which is even worse, that we suggested mothers group can have one Adhyaksha who can be the chair of the committee with signs on all the money given under ICDS. And this Adhyaksha says, I want my... This is all what we've heard. So the point is, you cannot devise a system which is completely foolproof, but you can have mechanisms in place where you can ensure that the transparency and the accountability which the government is wanting, the participatory planning and governance which we wanting, we would reach somewhere towards that.
Now, I would like to read the approved speech of Dr. Chatterjee. He says, India's emergence as one of the fastest growing economies has changed the way world perceives India. The irony, however, is that India is not a poor country, but has one of the largest concentration of poor in the world. While India can be proud of what it has been able to achieve, it cannot remain impervious to the often indigestible reality. As a result, the ever-dynamic development sector in India has been witness to a far more than usual degree of changes in the past few years. One unforeseen but obvious consequence of the rise in India's fortune has been the decline in funding from traditional donors and government-supported international agencies. Fortunately or unfortunately, it has highlighted the need for voluntary organizations to shift from their traditional grant-based approach to open market-based resources that are service and or product-oriented and contribute to sustainable development in the long term. Another interesting development has been the growing emphasis on the burgeoning corporate sector to dutifully fulfill its social responsibilities. If the recent developments in India's legislature and policy landscape are anything to go by, companies are not just expected but are increasingly being mandated to take responsibilities of the impact they are making on society and the environment. Business regulations like Department of Public Enterprises guidelines on CSR and sustainability, which were released in 2009 and 13, Ministry of Corporate Affairs National Voluntary Guidelines on Social, Environmental and Economic Responsibilities, which were released in 2011, SEBI's directives on mandatory reporting on NVGs for top 100 BSE or NSE listed companies on CSR, and the recently passed Companies Act 2013 has created an environment where businesses have to accept and embrace the idea of sustainable development.
Today, government programs are so vivid, resources are flowing so good. The question is, what is missing is quality and convergence. And quality and convergence, if these two things happen in this country, with the civic education, with citizen education, I think it will be a wonderful country. And we'll see that change during our time, actually. I can see that very clearly. If we put our heart and soul there, things are bound to change, no doubt about it. Provided we are able to be clear what we need to, where do we put our energy right now? And on top of it, CSR, 2% resources are also going to be available. You know, I was amazed as the Information Commissioner. There were a couple of RTI applications on how the periphery development money contributed by the corporate world has been utilized. We have a very interesting district, which is the mining hotbed in Odisha. And a very interesting RTI application was filed there to find out the companies that contribute money to the periphery development, and periphery development money is utilized by the district administration to deal with underdevelopment indices, backward indices, and so on and so forth. And today, on top of that, you have two very important schemes also run in those backward districts. The Backward Region Grant Fund and the IAP money, which is also flowing to those districts which are affected by left extreme organizations. The point I want to drive at is, I think embracing the culture of transparency has been there in the voluntary sector. We have to really only activate that. If we are doing social audit in the village, if we are demanding accountability from the government, from the corporate world, we can't shy away from the accountability. So therefore, I'm so happy that this is a very good, distinguished group of individuals and organizations who have embraced themselves to be part of Credibility Alliance, to subject themselves for a third-party audit, subject themselves through a transparency norm, and also getting the guidelines of Mr. Fogula and the team on a regular basis on disclosure norms, on all that actually. I don't know how you are implementing it, but I'm sure you are part of the knowledge system.